Really, my only other pick in the fourth probably would have been Gene Segura, and Steve took him the pick before, so I think it made it a lot easier for me to take a pitcher.
Yeah, he was a guy I was hoping would last to me here, but he did not. And that's okay. I mean, I don't mind getting Bruce in the fourth. And Segura, man, that guy. It seems like either the people I've been reading and seeing doing rankings online are either all in on him as like a third or fourth round pick, or they just don't care about him at all.
Yeah. Just he doesn't have the power yet, but there's a lot of potential for 20 and 40 out of him in the future.
Yeah, and I mean the second half slide last season was a little concerning. I mean, I don't know how it could not be. Let's see, pitchers.
You're welcome, Steve. He said validation. Thanks, Zach.
So I'm hoping that if you're watching the stream, all this stuff is showing up in a little more clear of a display. I kind of shrank. It's not pretty. Like there's like a bunch of black space on the screen, but I kind of shrank the a lot of what was being captured with my my streaming program to blow it up on your viewing screen a little bit more. I'm going to take Chris Sale here, just sidebar. But yeah, I'm hoping this is all showing up and that you can read the player names in the rankings on the left or on the center part of your screen as far as like what Yahoo is spitting back at us. But if you feel like chiming in on that, say something in the chat. Jeff says, if I take Jerko, everyone unfollow me. And then Mike says, what's wrong with Jerko? Yeah, Jeff, what is wrong with Jerko? Are you a Jerko guy, Zach?
Yeah.
Cheap power, man. Late in the draft or mid rounds even. Like it's hard to pass that up in a middle infield eligible player.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on Matt Carpenter? It looks like he's shooting up Yahoo's rankings. They have him ahead of Ian Kinsler right now. I don't think he was there last draft that we did.
Yeah, I am a Carpenter fan. But with the caveat being that his numbers kind of dictate that you prioritize power at other spots. I mean, he helps you out a lot in batting average, but he's not going to do much in the home run department or the steals department. So you need to make sure that you're getting enough of those elsewhere to make him worth it. I also really like guys with multiple position eligibility, which is why I'm also a fan of Brett Laurie. I'll take both of those guys. And the aforementioned Jerko a little higher than most because I like having that flexibility of moving guys around and kind of filling out a full lineup every week. So you just selected Matt Holliday. Looking at the other outfielders available, what do you like about him more than someone like Marte or Cespedes or Hunter Pence? Just the consistency?
Well, yeah. Everything except for stolen base, he's going to give you pretty much. So I can't justify taking less than 50 RBIs and out of my fourth hitter for starting Marte. I mean, obviously he could provide more than 50 RBIs, but I don't think it's likely.
I think that's fair. And that 280 batting average from last season is a bit of a mirage. That should probably dip down back closer to 265, 270 for him this year.
Yeah, and especially most of his value comes from steals, and I'd rather take a few 20 steal guys like Shane Victorino, people like that in the later rounds, or even someone like if you wanted to pick Coco Crisp up a couple rounds later.
Okay, so I took Chris Sale there, and now I'm looking at, let's see, top of the rankings, still a lot of pitchers, and the closers are starting to show up near the top. I mean, Aroldis Chapman, Kenley Jansen. What's your stance on when to draft closers?
I never take a top tier closer. I can find 30. If you can find 30 saves later in the draft, I don't think it justifies taking a higher pick on a closer. Like, as long as you get 2 closers before the end of the mid tier, I would say you'd be doing fine. If you can get like a Glenn Perkins and a, I don't know, Rafael Soriano, I don't think there's any need to take a top tier closer.
Yeah, I mean, I might even argue that Perkins is kind of creeping in on that top tier closer, those top tier closer ranks. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, eventually, if a guy slides far enough, he's worth it. When it comes to closers versus the spot at which Yahoo has them ranked here, I tend to agree. I'm definitely a guy who will let them slide. What are you looking at here with this pick to follow up Holiday?
I'm looking at, I really need to fill my shortstop position. I don't usually like to pick based off position, so I'm not. Looks like I have to make a pick quick anyways. I am looking at Ben Zobrist simply because he's one of the few shortstops left that'll provide me a little bit of every category. Because, I mean, Elvis Andrus, Everett Cabrera, and then once you get past J.J. Hardy, you have a bunch of low-power shortstops as well. I just like that he provides me all the main statistics.
So it seems like, in general, your strategy is definitely to get guys who are going to contribute in multiple categories. You don't like the single-category providers like Everett Cabrera. Is that fair to say?
Until I get to later rounds, yeah. Like, if I need power, I'd take someone like Brandon Moss later for outfield, but I don't like taking one category contributors early in the draft.
Okay, that's fair. And I mean, that jives with what you were saying about taking closers early as well. Like, they only really do saves. I mean, they can help your ratios, and the elite guys can contribute in strikeouts as well relative to the other closers, but you're not really helping many categories out when you take a closer early.
Yeah. I think the shortstop pick also goes back to when we were talking about this league's format with the corner infielder and middle infielder. If I had went a different way with a pitcher or a outfielder, I would be stuck with third base, shortstop, corner infielder, and middle infielder open. And while I usually don't like to pick just based off position, I don't like to have that big of a hole sitting there going into the 7th round.
Yeah, now you've got me all worried about my shortstop position. How dare you? Yeah, it's interesting where some of these guys are ranked. Like, the highest middle infielder ranked is Ian Kinsler, but if you go a little deeper, you find Elvis Andrus and Everett Cabrera. I'm not really ready to panic on that yet. I'm probably going to just continue to take who I believe is the best player available. Guys I'm looking at here are Hosmer, and I am looking at Kinsler. But Hosmer will go into my quarter infield. I don't think I'm ready to make that pick yet. The other guy, I do like Marte. I could consider him here, but with Carlos Gomez already in my lineup, I don't really need to double down on a player like that. So I'm going to take Kinsler, fill my second base spot, and he is a solid kind of all-around contributor. I don't know. I actually don't like him much this year, but like you said, format kind of dictates that you at least get one of your second base or shortstop picks locked up early, because normally where you'd be getting a value second baseman like Jed Jerko, that kind of guy you need to slot into your middle infield spot instead.
Yeah, definitely. I think we need to stop talking about Jed Jerko, though, because Steve and Jeff are probably going to poach him.
They're losing it, man. I got a question for you. What do you think about Matt Kemp this season?
obviously there is a risk there, but I think where he's being taken, I think you have to take him for his huge upside. Well, you don't have to take him, obviously, but I mean, I think you have to strongly consider him there for how big his upside is.
Yeah, speaking of that, I'm about to take my second pitcher. David Price, still sitting here in the 7th round. When I took Chris Sale in, what was it, the 4th or 5th round, I felt kind of dirty doing that. I don't feel dirty taking David Price in the 7th. Like, this seems like a pretty solid value at this point. And this is something I'm just trying out. I'm going to take pitchers a little bit higher today, see how the team shakes out. I'm probably going to get punished for it because the last draft we didn't have corner infield, middle infield. It just had a single infielder position, which may as well just be another utility because you're going to put a first baseman there. But in this format where you kind of have to get an extra middle infielder, maybe I'm going to regret taking 2 pitchers within the first 7 rounds. I mean, ultimately, though, you're going to kind of look at any draft strategy and, like, if you can find value in the middle to late rounds, wherever you can find it, your team should be okay. I do think it's important to get some, like, elite producers in certain categories, namely the power categories early on. But after that, it's kind of just like, what's your style? Do you go for kind of all-around contributors like you tend to do, Zach, or are you drafting just kind of best player available until, like, team need starts to really be a pressing matter? I'm interested to see. Like, I feel like I had a great feel for this last season, and this year, so much changed. The rankings were shaken up so much. Like, a lot of the guys with, like, really good track records kind of fell off. A lot of, like, really young players are ascending right now, and I'm still not quite where I want to be as far as feel for ADP versus value, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. You vocalized it better than I ever could. The year definitely feels different. I'm not used to it quite yet.
I mean, how do you get around that? I mean, is it just a matter of drafting more, doing more mocks, playing in more leagues till you kind of figure it out? Or do you think it's even possible to figure it out?
Yeah, I think practice makes perfect, but I think you also have to read the fakebaseball.com. I mean, I hear they have pretty good analysis.
And a bunch of handsome writers.
Yeah. We're plugging the website to our own writers watching the stream.
Yep.
And Jeff.
And Jeff used to write for the site.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder I don't think many people watch these live, and if you are watching this live, thank you very much. But I think most people tune in and just watch the videos after the fact, after they're recorded. So, like, yeah, it's interesting how this plays out. Who did you just take?
I took Pedro Alvarez.
Oh, Pedro Alvarez. Talk about a masher right there. That guy's awesome.
Yeah. I figure with him and Chris Davis, I don't really have to worry about any late round power. I can just focus on taking upside and sleepers.
And batting average guys.
Yeah.
Like, do you think Chris Davis is going to repeat the batting average he put up last year? Because I do not.
No.
I think he's more of a 265, 270 hitter than a 280, 285 hitter.
Yeah, definitely. I think he could have a little bit of sneakier value in an OBP league just because his patience has gotten a lot better since the start of last year.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And who are you hoping slides to you here? You might have to run the risk of Steve overhearing you and snaking him from you, but what are your thoughts at this point? You have one pitcher, a couple outfielders, and your entire infield is full.
Yeah. I am looking at probably another pitcher here. Out of everyone left, I prefer Homer Bailey and Jordan Zimmerman, but there's a lot of people in the next 10 that I like. For example, Julio Teheran, Alex Cobb. So I'm actually going to have trouble picking a pitcher here when I could probably wait a round or two and get either of those two guys that I've just listed.
Still get a guy you like.
Yeah.